Welcome back to For Your Information, and welcome to episode number 2. I'm Topher Elkins, and surprisingly enough, they let me come back and I wasn't canceled. So now the goal is to see how long we can keep this thing going. This time around, I'm going to talk about something that's actually really important to me: fashion. No, seriously, look, even if you don't think you care about fashion, it's important. It's a form of expression. What you wear says something about you. You wear that jersey, you like that team. You wear those combat boots, it says you're edgy. I wear this hat, it shows I'm balding by the age of 20. Fashion is a huge part of our culture, and whether or not you want to acknowledge it, we're actually right around the corner from the holiday shopping season, and we are going to be buying more clothes than ever. And Americans alone are expected to spend over $1.5 trillion.
What woman doesn't love to shop? But what if we told you shopping can give you the same pleasure as sex? According to analysis provided by the facial tracking company Inviso, she is on a shopping high.
She's definitely not shopping. She just dropped Molly with RoboCop. Now, in the 1980s, the average American bought about 12 articles of clothing a year. Yeah, that makes sense, back to school shopping. Your mom takes you to Gap and Old Navy, you get 2 nice pairs of jeans, a performance fleece, and a jacket probably. And that was it. And you're like, 5th grade, here I come. Now, the average American buys an average of 68 new pieces of clothing a year, and that's largely because of this one dominant force in the clothing industry.
Fast fashion is a series of chain retailers who basically are able to look at the runways and make garments really quickly and put them into a see now, buy now kind of retail environment.
Fast fashion is also about, when we say fast, it's not going to last in your wardrobe very long. So it's going to be fast on you and fast off you.
Fast fashion is about making clothes quick, cheap, and disposable. It's like toilet paper that almost makes you look like Ariana Grande. Now, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of fast fashion retailers, but you probably know the most popular ones: Fashion Nova, H&M, Zara, and of course, Shein. Yeah, so fast fashion is popular because it democratized high fashion, and they do that by knocking off high fashion from scale. You guys remember this song, right?
I like $1,000,000 deals, where's my pen? I'm signing. I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks.
Now, when she says those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks, she's talking about these shoes, which retail for about $800. So pretty soon, Zara came out with these for 60 bucks. Now, for 60 bucks, you could basically be a discount Cardi B. So in Azalea Banks. Now, this entire business model has changed the industry. So today, I want to take a deep dive into fast fashion, because fast fashion is fashion now. Just take a look at any college bar on a Friday or Saturday night. Almost every girl in there is brought to you by their most recent Shein order. That's also why when you look them up the next day, they look nothing like they do on social media, because their identity has already been stolen. But I get why we love it. We want the feeling of luxury without paying full price. We want to look expensive-ish. We've all been to H&M and been like, dress shirt for $8? Yeah, I just gotta look decent enough for this wedding. But just like Cinderella, everything dissolves at midnight.
The average American woman is buying 64 new articles of clothing per year, half of which are worn 3 times or less. Now, the only mass market retailer that can cater to this extreme need we have for variety right now at an average price point that anyone can afford is currently H&M and Zara, so fast fashion.
That's an understatement. Fast fashion companies are killing legacy brands. Look at the revenue of Gap, Levi's, and the parent company of Tommy Hilfiger. Now look at H&M and Zara. Zara's parent company Inditex is the biggest retail clothing company in the world, which has made Zara's founder Amancio Ortega incredibly wealthy. He is now the 11th richest person in the entire world, worth over just $83 billion. Now, you may wonder what he does with all that money. Does he buy a private island, start a space company? Does he run a pointless presidential campaign? Nope.
This is probably a really ignorant question for someone like me, but who is Ortega?
Not really ignorant, because he really is not a very well-known name like Warren Buffett. But Amancio Ortega is a guy who just likes to be left alone. In fact, one of his quotes out there, and there are very few of them, is that I just want to live a normal life and be able to sip coffee with my wife in the piazza with nobody paying attention to me.
That is so European. I just want to sip coffee in the piazza and smoke cigarettes and sleep with the sister of my wife. Just a normal life. God. Ortega started his retail empire back in 1975 when he opened his first clothing store, which he called, and I'm not kidding, Zorba. No, this is true. Zara used to be called Zorba, but turns out there was also a bar in town called Zorba, and the owner complained. So Ortega just switched some letters around and added an A, and now it's Zara. Yeah, so even back then, Zara was knocking off other brands and companies. But there still was a reason Zara has become the #1 clothing brand. They pioneered the fast fashion business model. Now, normally, legacy brands released huge amounts of clothing in a few seasonal releases. They spend months coming up with and designing lines, buying and treating fabric, manufacturing in bulk, and distributing. It's a process that can take nearly 2 years. 2 years. Watergate took the same amount of time it took Gucci to come up with this ugly-ass turtleneck. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally believe Nixon would have gotten impeached much faster if he was wearing this. Now, in the 80s, Zara completely changed the fashion game by combining 2 techniques. The first is called quick response manufacturing, which basically means forget all the big expensive releases, let's knock off a design, keep materials on hand, only keep making it if it's popular, and streamline distribution. So when new trends break, these companies catch on the train as fast as they can.
Kim Kardashian West dragged clothing company Fashion Nova hard on social media, accusing them of ripping off the design of the black vintage Mugler dress she wore at the Hollywood Beauty Awards Sunday night. A day after Kim wore the dress, a knockoff version appeared on Fashion Nova's website.
Look at this. Within 1 day, everyone looked like they had put their dress on backwards. And it's all because of Kim K, of course. I think I would rock this dress, except I'm a little sensitive of people being able to see my lungs. Knockoffs like these are nothing new. These Brother release shoes retail $715. Zara knockoff, $60. Knots and Vibes outfit, $130. Fashion Nova, $40. But you're probably wondering, how is any of this legal?
Knockoffs mostly are not counterfeits. People tend to conflate them, but they're not the same.
This is a counterfeit. It copies the symbols of the brand that made the original.
So counterfeits are typically illegal.
Knockoffs, on the other hand, just resemble the design of the original, and that's usually fine.
Yeah, so knockoffs are basically legal. That's why I got my girlfriend a Gucci handbag in New York City for $10. I go, babe, it's Gucci, it's Italian. And she says, Topher, it says Gacci with an O. Whoops. But also, why would that Mexican Elmo lie to me? Now, making knockoffs super fast mean companies rely on real-time data to regulate supply and demand, monitor trends, and scour social media for feedback, which brings us to the second pillar of the business model, dynamic assortment, which is basically just a fancy way of sell new shit every day. If quick response manufacturing catches waves fast, dynamic assortment constantly pumps out new products to see what sells.
H&M salespeople tell us new clothes come in every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. That works out to 500 million products a year.
Instead of 2 seasons a year, we practically have 52 seasons a year. So we have something new coming in every week.
52 seasons a year. Do they understand everyone else just calls them weeks, right? No one needs that much new content every week. No other business works like this. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Now, this business model has revolutionized the industry, but it now means we are drowning in clothes. In 2018, Inditex, again, the parent company of Zara, alone made 1.6 billion pieces of clothing and runs over 7,500 stores. Since 2005, they have been opening at a rate of more than 1 store a day. These guys are basically the new Dunkin' Donuts, except they have working credit card readers. Next thing you know, you're gonna walk in for a coffee and end up leaving with a neon puffer jacket, some Louis V knockoff joggers, and a new pair of shoes. You're gonna be at the counter like, dude, I can't pay cash. My total is $148. So, look, we all know fast fashion is stylish and cheap, but let's be real. The true reason it blew up was because of social media. Because like whenever we go out, the outfit gotta be fly as hell for the gram. And you already know that that outfit gotta be different than last week's outfit because it was on the gram of that Snapchat story. So that constantly means we're rotating new looks. Compare that to 20 years ago, we're only keeping what we buy for as half as long. Now, obviously, I'm not saying don't buy clothes, but guys, we are not slowing down. It is infecting the rest of the industry. Gap, J. Crew, Hollister, Ralph Lauren, Burberry, and Tommy Hilfiger have all said they want to speed up supply chains to be more like fast fashion. And all of this churn is coming at a huge cost, and we'll cover that right after the break.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
You've messed up your son's haircut. Do you try to fix it? Work with what you've got? Or show solidarity?
Thank you, babe. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Había un niño que era muy sensible a luces y sonidos. Construía escondites donde no podían entrar. No le gustaba mirar a la gente a los ojos. Lo hacía sentir incómodo. Un día se descubrió que tenía autismo. Con ayuda, poco a poco, aprendió a vivir mejor con ello.
Mientras más pronto se diagnostique, mejor. Conoce las señales en autismspeaks.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job!
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can.
Get someone a cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates. Our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can. Intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Now, I think most people know about the terrible working conditions in factories. Like, at this point, we look at clothes the same way we look at Billie Eilish songs. We're like, wow, I can't believe a kid made that. But what a lot of people don't know is what these clothes are doing to the planet. In 2015, textile production produced more greenhouse gases than flights and maritime shipping combined. Do you understand what this means? The clothes in your suitcase are screwing up the planet more than the flight or cruise you put them on. And the problem starts from the same place the clothes start from, the fabric they're made from.
What have you been buying?
My mum bought this. She bought a jacket
growing the cotton
Yeah,
to make that jacket
yeah.
will have taken 10,330 litres of water just to grow the cotton to make that jacket. 24 years of drinking water for one person.
24 years.
Yeah, guys, Ansel Elgort can't believe it took that much water either. Now, unfortunately, synthetic fabrics are even worse. Polyester, nylon, spandex all use over 324 million barrels of oil a year. Yeah, if you didn't realize this, your Lululemon leggings are made from oil. Now, I already know most people were cool with me shitting on Zara, but now that I came after Lulu, it's like, alright, time to turn the video off. Guys, getting up the Saudis to give up their oil is nothing compared to giving college girls to give up their yoga pants. It would literally be the SoulCycle Alamo. It would be a fight to the death. Their battle charge would be like, Amber, Ashley, Alexis, slay! And then they realize they're on Pelotons and they don't actually move. Now, using oil to make synthetics is bad, but the way we make another fast fashion fabric called viscose is even worse. About 33% of the viscose we use in clothes is made from ancient or threatened forests, and the process requires a huge amount of waste.
After the forests are cleared, the wood is pulped and processed into fabrics called rayon and viscose. But it's shockingly wasteful. As much as 70% of the harvested wood is dumped or incinerated. Just 30% ends up in the garments.
Okay, but pause. Why is the music so inspirational? It feels like 8 Mile's soundtrack, but for loggers. Like, I think I want to go chop down trees. Now, if you can't tell, making clothes is like the human centipede of supply chains because at every turn it only gets shittier. To manufacturing fabrics, processing, dyeing, finishing, you have to use a ton of toxic chemicals, which a lot of the time just gets dumped into the nearest rivers and villages. One example of this is the Citarum River in Indonesia, where there are factories that both H&M and Zara have worked with.
Kena kulit bisa seperti ini tuh. Merah-merah gatal. Sana. Children exposed to the lead, then they will have intellectual disabilities. I believe that the main source of pollution is from the textile industries.
Little kids shouldn't have liver problems. Sorry for such a hot take, but this textile lobbyist in Indonesia doesn't really seem to be worried.
Sometimes like this, if we have so many pollution, I think maybe next 50 years we are now what is the X-Men, you know, film X-Men, mutant, yes. Maybe 50 years we are no mutant.
Okay, but why is he laughing? Apparently his mutation is just not having a soul. By the way, that is such a damn uncle response. You're like, I'm dying over liver failure, and he goes, be positive, maybe you'll just become a mutant. Jesus Christ, I can't. Also, he has obviously never seen X-Men. Mystique isn't blue because she lives near a denim factory. They have powers, they aren't sick. You know what? That dude's favorite superhero movie is probably The Fault in Our Stars. He's like, wow, that girl has so many powers. Keep in mind, up until now, I've just been talking about making clothes. As hard as it is to believe, getting rid of the clothes is even worse. The average American throws away 80 pounds of clothes a year. Now, imagine what 350 million Americans can do. How are clothes the one things Americans just don't hoard? We'll throw away half of our clothes, but keep an expired Visine bottle from 2006 on the top shelf of our bathroom cupboard. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. None of this applies to me, Topher. I donate my clothes. But let me remind you, you can't donate your old football jersey or crap clothes with rhinestones on them. One single Salvation Army center in New York creates 18 tons of unwanted clothing every 3 days. And if unwanted clothes aren't sold within a month, most of them end up here,
Charities can't sell or give away is often sold by the ton to buyers in the developing world. Even there, much of last year's fashion is filling this year's landfills.
Yeah, we burnt them, and it is a loss to us because we have already bought them.
Now, for all the fabric used for clothing, 87% of it ends up incinerated or in a landfill. Now, look, companies know that this is a problem, and they know we care about the environment, which is probably why you've seen some brands trying to show how woke they are.
Okay, go. I'm Jean and I'm 21. I'm very excited because this is a brilliant idea, fashion but with a more sustainable means of production. My top is made from plastic bottles originally. These jeans are made from renewed cotton. Nothing goes to waste, which is great. It's absolutely imperative that we think about reducing, reusing and recycling to keep up with the future for tomorrow.
Clearly, Zara is panicking. Someone in headquarters is like, they're buying used clothes. What do we do? I don't know, man. Put a model on a damn tractor. Just do something. Boss, what about a swan? Yeah, that's a good idea. Grab a swan and a baby duck. Just get it done already. That ad is so vague, you could literally put any logo at the end of it and no one would question it.
Absolutely imperative that we think about reducing, reusing and recycling to keep up with the future for tomorrow.
You guys, Chipotle cares. Now, H&M is trying to do the same thing, but with less ducks.
All I ask is, if part we must, we do so in a responsible way. If you just throw me out, it damages the planet. The Earth simply cannot bear so many clothes ending their lives as waste. H&M has a far better answer. They've started what they call their garment collecting program to welcome any of us of any brand, size, age, or color, and in absolutely any state. You simply come to an H&M store, drop your old clothes in a collecting box, and leave the rest entirely to them.
Ah, of course. I'm definitely gonna listen to the sorting hat for cargo shorts. A piece in closing comes in and they goes, you're going to Mozambique. And the cargo shorts go, no, they're gonna burn me. Now, all of these are great examples of what's called greenwashing. That's when a company that markets themselves as being a lot more green than they really are. And if you look at them, they have a lot of impressive claims, but a lot of them are bullshit. And if you dig around like we did, you find out a lot. This is Inditech's 2018 annual report. It's 438 pages. We all read annual reports, right? Yeah, I do. It's normal. I'm totally normal for this, trust me. But on page 28, they claim 88% of their waste is used or recycled. That's awesome, right? But if you look 254 pages later, no, I'm serious, that 88% leaves out thousands of factories around the world that the majority of their waste comes from. But then you see a bit later, you're like, hey, at least they're recycling the waste from their stores. That's great. That's over 7,000 locations. But even buried deeper than that, they're like, psych, the waste from our stores? Not included, idiot. You see what they're doing? They're burying the key pieces of information. It's the same experience as reading the Constitution. You read it and you're like, we the people. That's us, we're we. Then you scroll down and you find out, that's not all people. And then you get even deeper and you realize that they hardly met any people. Pretty much just dudes named George Bernard Thomas. Everyone else is screwed. And guess what? That's just Zara, by the way. Now, let's talk about those H&M recycling bins. They say, bring in your old clothes. Cool, but almost 90% of the clothes get trashed or burnt. So H&M gets to look green while also getting you to shop more by giving you a discount to buy even more shit that you'll soon be recycling. H&M and Zara also have eco-friendly clothing lines. H&M's is called Conscious and Zara's is called Join Life. Those are awful names, by the way, but it's besides the point. The problem with these clothing lines is that so many of the green claims they make completely meaningless. And they get away with this by using specific words that have no set definition. Kinda like what a proctor was from last episode. I can hear the pallbearers now. But words like green, eco-friendly, ethical, responsibly made, and the most meaninglessly one of them all.
65% of H&M's materials are now from recycled or more sustainable sources.
With buying, and really the whole company is receiving training in some ways to do with sustainability.
At Primark, we recognise that all of our products will have an impact on the environment. That's why we take environmental sustainability very seriously.
What is cool and trendy coming in fashion? What is modern? I'm going to tell you what is modern. Sustainability. Everybody should be sustainable now.
Yeah, everyone should be sustainable now. But sustainable has no legal definition. It's like when businesses talk about synergy or when Subway talks about meat. They use ambiguity to sell you the feeling of responsibility. Look at these mid-rise chinos. Zara says it makes these in a way that reduces water consumption in the dyeing process. That sounds great, right? But the dyeing process only uses about 1% of the water needed to make these jeans. Or look at this faux leather coat. Zara claims it's made with the most sustainably produced polyurethane. But the question is, how do you sustainably make clothes that are made from oil? It's like a fair trade blood diamond. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, H&M and Inditex say they're working on new techniques for recycling, which may be good for the future. But it doesn't change the fact that a lot of the claims they're making right now are completely misleading. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Come on, Topher, what do you want from me? Every week I hear about something new I can't do. Don't eat meat, don't fly so much, don't use straws. Last week you're trashing my college degree, and now you're telling me I shouldn't buy mom jeans? What's next? You're gonna be telling me I shouldn't be watching Disney? Look, I'm not saying you guys can't buy mom jeans. I'm just telling you should wear them longer.
Just by wearing your clothes for 9 months longer, it can reduce your carbon footprint for that garment by 30%.
And that is the hidden gem of resale items. Take a look. If everyone bought one used item this year instead of new, it could save nearly 6 pounds of CO2 emissions. That's equivalent to removing 500,000 cars off the road for a year.
Do you guys understand what this means? As much as I hate to admit it, Macklemore was right, and we all owe him a huge apology. Thrift Shop was just him trying to save the planet. Dude was the original Greta Thunberg. But it also means this is an issue where a single person can actually make a huge difference. Like the video said, just wearing clothes longer or buying one single item secondhand, that is 500,000 cars off the road. So, if you want to help tonight, I know you can get a white hat for cheap, just meet me at Dunkin' Donuts. But remember, we only take cash.